What's up?
I like the fact that it doesn't take up the whole screen, and I can kind of like play off to the side.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
it's fun.
Hopefully you got the memo. If not, you may not be here. So
that's true.
This is a little bit of an early event this week, and that's perfectly okay. I actually had prior plans that I did not know about when I made the date. So we kind of worked around it. And I appreciate Shane for being a little bit flexible there with work on the same day. I mean, we could have pushed it. That's fine. I didn't, whatever was comfortable for those.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here.
Everyone just kind of goes with the flow, which is nice.
So we are here with Shane Trimble, bassist for High Reaper. If you haven't checked out their new release, just dropped last week. I think it was. Was it last week or week before?
It was. When was that? It was October 4th.
Right, so that was Renewed by Death, come out on October 4th.
That's right.
I actually reviewed it, and then I reached out to those guys and said, "Hey, man, love the album, love to talk to you guys about it."
So yeah, it's been 3 Fridays ago.
3 Fridays. Okay, so still fresh. It's still fresh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does more often than not. Anyway, it takes some time to reach out, get a response, kind of get everything squared away. So I mean, it's been very, very few times where we've been able to. I mean, it's happened once or twice where we've had like a within the week turnaround, but it does take a little bit of time. Everyone's living their own life. And especially for, these guys in the bands and everything. I mean, hell, they're playing release shows and sometimes they're on tour. And I mean, sometimes, they've got jobs and, in the case of some of our guests, I mean, they're recording for, they're running studios for other bands. I mean, these guys have got a whole lot of shit going on. So it's nice of them to find time to hang with us.
That's right. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring Shane in here. How's it going, man? Hey. Thanks. Like I said, thanks again for coming on. And, like I said, thanks for being a little flexible on the time and stuff, too. I mean, that's I'm sure it works out better for Chris. He kind of works the day shift, so he's probably like, yes, I get to go to bed early.
Me too. I mean, me too.
I mean, 4:30, 5 o'clock. I mean, that comes early every day, no matter what you got going on that night. So yeah, it'll be kind of nice for potentially not getting off of here at 12:30, 1 o'clock, which we are known to do more often than not. So.
Understandable.
And hell, it's already after 9 o'clock up there in Philadelphia where Shane's at. So,
yes,
I mean, he's already an hour ahead of us as it is. So
that's right. It's already my bedtime.
Eastern time.
But I'm hanging in there tight today, so don't worry about it.
Well, you were telling us before we went on the air. We were talking about shirts. You're already in your you're already in your sleep attire. So
that's exactly right. So that's exactly right.
Nothing wrong with that, man. Curl up with comfy clothes, and hell, that's a Friday night. So crack a beer if you got it. So I mean, all that good shit. So
yes, indeed. If I drank now, I would just fall asleep. So I'm not going to drink.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we got 15 minutes probably. This would be the shortest interview you'd ever do.
Well, the funny thing is, Shane, is someone would have to hold the record for shortest interviews. I mean, at some point, it's going to happen. So just by law of averages, it'll happen at some point.
So you guys are the second band we've actually talked to from Philadelphia. Good friends of ours, Eyes of the Living. I don't know if you've heard of those guys, but they were one of our guests. I think it's a couple of years ago now.
Right on.
Yeah, so they've kind of been, they came on the show. Of course, we keep in touch, and we try to keep in touch with every band that's on here.
Yep.
Especially if we haven't heard and their name don't pop up on social media every once in a while. We're kind of like, okay, what's going on with these guys? We've contacted them. Hey.
Yeah, we've kind of made our way through the Northeast quite a few times. Second time now, Philadelphia. New York with Extinction AD. Massachusetts. Sepsis was from Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
And so we've been to the Northeast quite a few times. So the heavy metal hotbed that is the northeastern part of the United States. So welcome back. As far as the Northeast goes, Shane, we appreciate you coming on. So I guess first off, congratulations on the new album,
Hey, thank you.
Renewed by Death.
Mm-hmm.
As Jason did say, he is the one who did the initial review of the album. I, of course, picked up on it after the fact because I had my own review I did that week. But in preparation for the show this week, obviously, we did all of our homework. I've listened to the entire catalog at this point. Spent the week going through, the back catalog and all that good stuff, and probably listened to the new album probably about 6-8 times this week alone. I made it through the new album twice just today because thankfully I have a long enough commute where on the way up and on the way back I have a little more than an hour commute. So thankfully I was able to start it this morning, finish it, and get all the way through it again on the way home. So which is nice because listening to something the first time, like Jason did when he did the review, you're just getting yourself an idea. Okay. As a whole, what did I think about it? And then, you go back and listen to it again. Stuff starts standing out. Songs, some songs, start sticking out. Okay, I may like this song a little bit better than this. I like this part of that song a little better than this. Like what they did here, like what they did there. And that actually kind of started happening with me listening to it as many times as I did. Now, one of the things that I noticed about the new album, at least to me, of course, this is all subjective, of course, but one of the things that stood out to me about the new album compared to the work earlier on, in High Reaper and Higher Reaper, this album to me, and like I say, you could correct me if I'm wrong, that's fine. It's been known to happen, is you guys seem to add a little bit more of an up-tempo groove to this album compared to the first two.
I mean, it's nothing's really intentional, I mean, it's just after, well, I switched from bass to guitar. So on this record, so a couple things happened. So for this record, I switched from bass to lead guitar, and then we have a bass player, Jimmy, and so for writing, it made writing different because normally Pat and I would play guitar while we wrote. Pat and I would write, but we wouldn't write with the bass player. So even because I was a bass player, but I would just be playing the guitar. So it really allowed us to just do more. It just changed the way we wrote. I mean, it just changed the way we wrote. So more shit was happening. In addition, just me playing guitar, me moving to guitar, it just changed what kind of we wanted to get out of the band because it added something. I moved with the intention of being a lead guitar player, which we didn't really, it wasn't really a big part of our sound before having, like kind of a lead guitar. A little bit, but not a lot. It wasn't like a focus at all. We were doing more of that kind of stuff now.
It actually kind of makes sense that you mention that, because another thing that I noticed, and like I say, this was just something that I seem to kind of pick up on a little bit, is there seemed to be more guitar solos on this album than on the last couple.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's intentional because that was the reason why I started playing guitar, was to do that, to add that kind of layer. Go ahead.
Now, did the kind of increase in the guitar solos have to do with the organic uptake in the tempo, or was it just kind of like a thing that happened?
It was
so
more,
like you said, it wasn't anything intentional, but did one kind of coincide with the other?
Well, so with the guitar playing, I decided how kind of I wanted the lead guitar to be. So that's why I played it, because that's why part of the reason why I switched from bass, because I had an idea of what I kind of imagined our sound evolving into, and how we needed a real, like a prominent lead guitar, on each song, not necessarily each song, but become a little bit more complex with arrangements and stuff like that.
Okay.
Not just so straightforward.
Okay.
And in part of that, we were at the same time reimagining where and kind of reshaping how we wanted the band to sound moving forward with that part of that with that in mind, so the up tempo wasn't necessarily intentional, but the change in the overall sound was intentional, but not like it was really just reimagining the sound, because when I decided that that I would play lead, Pat and I knew that we were going to be able to do things that we wouldn't have previously been able to do when I was just playing bass. So, I mean, although that didn't mean up-tempo stuff intentionally, I mean, some of that came out of this, because we wrote like I said, we kind of wrote from a different space, not just musically, but also like physically, with having like a bass player there and stuff. It really just changed the writing so much, having a bass player present, so Pat and I could riff, and then, you could hear this and you really get a really kind of rapid idea of how it's going to sound, because the bass, you're getting feedback from the bass. It's like, oh, okay, shit, all right, it's going to sound like this, and you're like, and it just changed. I mean, the change in sound was intentional, but it still just changed. It just made it was a combination of factors that changed, not just the idea that we had in the change of sound that we wanted to make, but it was, there were multiple kind of factors there involved.
So I'm guessing I guess Andrew's no longer in the band, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so I guess him being gone too kind of created an opening for you guys to kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's it. Yes, exactly. Pat and I really did all the writing anyway, but still having, like I said, there's just so different to be writing this stuff and hearing the bass stuff immediately, and it kind of pushed us to directions we wouldn't have normally gone if it were just Pat and I with Justin. We call him Devil, with Devil on the drum, with us, just like how we would normally write. So it was really for us. It was great. I mean, it was great because it allowed us even more latitude than we would have, than we even had imagined when I made the switch to guitar.
Now, I'm assuming that since you had more people, writing the album, it actually helped speed up the process a little bit, considering you had the foundation of the bass that you could listen to on, basically more or less on demand, like you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, like a song like, let's see, I think the fifth song is like Jaws of Darkness. That is a song I had the chorus riff and that, and then we literally wrote that song. That song was done in about 10 minutes.
Nice.
No bullshit. We just, we jammed out the parts, because we'll do this a lot. We'll like pop a part starts going, another part starts going, and then I just put down the guitar, and then we just talk, and then say, oh, let's do this, and I just listen. We have our own studio, so and we assembled it real quick. And Devil's always really fast with him and Pat will just be, Devil's like 4 parts of this for the, and Pat's like, okay, all right, cool. And then they just play it. And I'm like, oh, fuck, all right, good. And then so I just go in the control room, and we record the whole rehearsal anyway. But once we know that we've got something assembled, then we'll stop the tape. Well, not tape, but you know what I mean. We'll stop it and record the first demo of it. So yeah, I mean, it was rapid. I mean, shit, it's crazy. I was saying to someone the other day, like, man, if we didn't have jobs, like if we could actually got paid, I think we could have written like 3 albums worth of material if we if we
record them all at once.
Yeah, if we worked like 8 hours a day for like not even a month. I mean, we could have had like 5 if we treat it like our job, like, you know, put in like 30 to 40-hour weeks in the studio. I don't know how much we could have written. Although I'm into 35-minute records, so it would have only been one record for this, but I'm just saying we would have a bunch of other songs.
It's funny you mention that because Jason and I have talked about it multiple times that, you know, if we were able to commit the amount of time that same thing as you, if we could do this as our job every day, the amount of music that we could listen to, because I mean we have to take time to. We got to devote time to picking an album, listening to it, hopefully more than once to where we can get a review put together and then getting prepared for the show. But I mean, I think there was like 50 or 60 albums that came out just this week.
Oh, it was abundant this week, man.
It was so many.
I was doing the playlist and I was like, damn, am I done yet? Like, God.
Listen, post COVID has been, I mean, because I work, like I said, I work for our label too.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of releases now, it's fucking insane. I can't keep up with our own label's releases barely, let alone what's going on. It's insane. The cycle for a record now, I mean, it's like 2 weeks and then it's forgotten. There's someone else, you know, like it's crazy. You know, you got a 3-month ramp up till the release out. After it's been out 2 weeks, no one remembers that you even put out the fucking record and they're on the next 50 records.
Yeah. So with you working at at your label, what is it that you do?
I'm on the press team.
Okay. All right.
You know, I'm on the PR team.
Okay. So you're you're partly responsible for making sure that bands aren't forgotten after those 2 weeks.
Yeah, totally. But
it would have really looked bad if you didn't come on the show today.
but I mean, it's
the basis,
crazy.
but I'm also the PR person.
Yeah, I'm only on the team. I'm not the boss of the team. I'm just
you're just a cog in the machine. So,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
So speaking of the label, they're based out of Italy. Now you're in Philly, and
I'm actually in Delaware, but yes.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, because I knew. Okay, because
Zach lives in Philly. Jimmy lives in Philly. I mean, we are. I mean, all of us. Well, not Jimmy, but he's actually originally from Florida. But the rest of us are
okay. All right.
Delaware.
Well, then. Okay. Well,
then
but
you can say Philly. You can say. I mean, no one knows where Delaware is anyway. So it's easy
I mean, you know, I do because I was pretty good at geography. But you're right. By and large, I mean,
no one knows where the fuck it is.
By and large, not a lot of people are huge geography people. But so you're in the Northeast. They're over there in Italy now. Is this label that you're with kind of like some of the other ones where they have like a U.S. branch over here? Like,
no, we're no. Mm-mm.
So it's just them, and you're just taking care of things over here.
Yeah, I mean, I just happen. I mean, I get up really early, and I, you know, start my work on, you know, the press team. I start on their time. You know, I start at 6 a.m. usually. We're on 6. So that's noon over there. So
okay, I was about to ask what the
everything's, but nothing's happening in music at 8 a.m. over there anyway. So I just start. So I wake up to my emails and messages and just go from there.
Yeah. Well, we talked to a band a few weeks ago based in Italy, and they said they pretty much said the same thing.
Who was the band?
The name of the band is Never Obey Again.
Okay, no, I don't know them.
Yeah, I can't remember what label they're on. They might be on. Actually, I think you're right. I think they're on Scarlet Records.
Okay.
But yeah. So we talked to them a few weeks ago, and they kind of said the same. They kind of said the same thing, which we were surprised by. But but yeah, they just had an album come out a couple weeks ago too.
Right on.
But so if you're working for the label, is that your job? Talking about everybody has jobs. Is that your job, or do you have?
No, it's just
another?
I worked for the label. I mix records too. I have a studio, and I'm a tattooist. That's my job. Tattoo is my regular job.
Yeah, now we're gonna get to the tattoos in a minute because I've seen some stuff on the social media, and I've seen music videos and stuff. So, and I've seen some other interviews. So we're gonna get to the tattoos here in a minute, but because I definitely wanted to talk about some of that. Now you're not gonna have to take your shirt off or anything, but I'm not
that's not happening.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I wasn't gonna ask you to do that, but so the studio is it your studio?
Yes.
Okay, so then basically, if you're mixing records, obviously you're mixing yours. Is that something that you've been doing for a long time?
Forever,
I mean, so
for 30? I started learning that stuff like 30 years ago is when I started doing that.
So was that obviously pre this band, of course, but was the audio engineering stuff, was that pre playing music?
No, it was through playing in a band I was in the 90s, when we had when I was young, it's probably like 21 or something, maybe 20, and just going into a studio and recording and start getting interested in learning how to do it, and being encouraged by the people we were working with to do it. And then later, so that was originally in New York at a studio called the Power Station, and the owner,
I've heard of the Power Station.
The owner there, he was like, you should do this, you should blah blah blah. And then we started working in Philly at Sigma, and then that's when I met my mentor, who recently died a few years ago, but his name was Mike Tarsi, and then I worked with him forever doing that. So I lucked into like $1 million education in recording. It's dumb luck. It had nothing to do with anything other than luck.
Well, I mean, though you think about it, you did this in the 90s. I mean, we're in 2024. That's 30 years of evolution with the.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. That's I'm sure it evolutionized a lot since then too. So you've had to keep up. So I mean.
That's why I call it tape, just because I came up on. That's why I was exactly. I stopped the tape. Just because I don't even know what to call it to stop recording, I guess. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, came up on tape.
Yeah. I mean, I think we still
like the movies. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I need, watching stuff on film and stuff like, I mean, you're still,
yeah, man, I just
still using, I guess, probably old jargon from back then and all this. We're all making ourselves sound old. I mean, but I mean, it's
funny that you say that, because I remember growing up, it was like 60, 70, 80-year-old people telling stories like, oh, back in my day, we're 40 and saying that. So it's
right. I know. Yeah.
It's like, wow. I mean, that's how fast things have changed though, from our 40 years and their 40 years.
So, it's sure. It's, I mean, things have advanced by leaps and bounds. Now, I'm sure at the time when, you were learning all this stuff, you didn't see it paying off into now. So.
No. And the thing is even then, I had already started tattooing. Like when I was getting deep into my education with recording and mixing, I was already tattooing, and I was already making a real living. So I always only did it on my terms, because it made no sense financially to me. Because I mean, when I was young and tattooing, I mean, like, I was making more money than my mentor was, who was a famous mixing engineer in Philly. So there was no financial incentive for me to switch careers. So I just always just worked with him and our friend group there in Philly, and and did what I did whenever I wanted to do it. And now I do it more because I have a reason to. I mix stuff for the label, and I try not to take on too many projects, but You know, I'm selective. Let's just say that I don't record bands that much. I just want to mostly mix them because I don't really feel like I want to work and work quickly and smoothly. And I don't like recording a band. It's cool and it is good, but like it takes a lot of effort and there's a lot of politicking because you're dealing with everyone and trying to please everyone and they're there all the time. You know, when you're mixing remotely for a band in Germany or whatever, you pretty much get the files, you do the mix, you send it to them. They say, we don't like this, that, and this. You change it. And then, you know, you might do a couple of revisions. When you master it, they say, oh no, can we have a little less bass? You give it to them and it's done. You know, it's different when you're dealing with a band. And I don't mean this in a bad way. It just means like, you know, it's easy to devote my time to saying, hey, I have 4 hours free tonight on my terms. I'm going to go do some mixing, or because actually the recording studio is on the other side of the tattoo studio, and in it's actually one building, but it looks like two separate buildings, but it's actually deeded as one. So anyway, it's right next to my work. So if I'm not busy tattooing, I can just, and I have stuff to work on, I can just go over, open my session, and you know, fiddle around for a couple hours, get the mix tighter, come back later with fresh ears and work, you know. And that's another thing about not recording the band is that, you know, you're doing it when you're recording someone, you're coordinating your time with, you know, 4 other people in a band. Right. And then you are, you know, with this way, like it's all on my time. I get up early, I go to bed early. I don't have to wait for people to get off work and then start a session at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. I'm 5 minutes from dreamland normally. So, you know, I'm not going to be working super efficiently, you know, starting my, you know, a session at 8 p.m. So, you know, that's what works for me now. When I was younger, I would be much more keen to record bands. I like to record my own band and our partner's band at the studio, you know, partner stuff help with the other guys at the studio, but who's Devil is one of them. And then another friend of mine, Andrew, not from our band, a different Andrew. But yeah, you know, so anyway,
it's gotta be kind of rewarding to be able to call your own shots like that though, right? I mean,
well, certainly, yeah.
I mean, you just said you have a tattoo studio here. You got your recording studio here. I'm assuming your house is like right in the middle somewhere. So, I mean, you could be like, I could just do whatever the hell I want, unless, you know, obviously, unless you guys have a show to do. But I mean, I can just go to wherever the hell I want. That's got to be, I mean, super rewarding to be able to call your own shots like that.
Well, yes, but I also want to say like that it is, yes, that aspect is rewarding. But I want to say that as in terms of like being in a band and having your own space, it's your own space. And this is, you know, it's a studio. It's not like a rehearsal spot. Like it's real and it's good. And it's a huge kind of, it's something that you don't have to ever, like you are able to do whatever you want and there's never a clock running, you know? So in terms of creatively, we can take as long as we want to do whatever we want. And we don't have to say, oh, we have to live with this take, or, oh, we have to do this, or, you know what, these 8 songs are good enough. We don't need any more. We can just do whatever the fuck we want. And, you know, like if we have to spend more time doing something, then we have to spend more time, you know, but there's never a clock running. So we never have the pressure, not to say that that's always good, because, you know, sometimes when you're on like a schedule or you have to think like, oh shit, we are spending this much, or we're doing, you know, it could cause you to create stuff that you might not normally create. You know, you're working under stress and you think, oh shit, you better do this. But there's I think for us, you know, the freedom is great. And I mean, like truly the intro to the record, like Blackened style intro, how it starts, kind of like Blackened does on And Justice for All. Mm-hmm. That, you know, I was at work and I was like, Zach had been saying like, I really want you to write an intro. and same with the outro, but it was the exact same thing. But I never ever listen. Ever listened to Injustice for All. I haven't listened to it, oh gosh, since it almost came out. But I was randomly, just because we were talking about it, I think Devil and I were talking about it. And so I put it on. I was like, oh shit, you know what? I can do this kind of intro for the record. Because I'd actually written this really complicated acoustic piece. It was, and then I was like, man, I'm going to put this on the record. This is going to be cool. And then once we started doing the record, I was like, man, I'm not going to put this fucking thing on the record. I can't, it doesn't even fit. And then Zach was like, we should have an intro. We should have an intro. And I was like, my brain just wasn't in it. I wasn't understanding what I needed to do. And then I listened to Blackened. I was like, okay, man, I'm going to do the fucking Blackened intro. So anyway, I was at work. And, you know, I didn't have, I don't know if I got done. I don't remember exactly, but whatever. I had free time. So I just walked next door to the studio and I was just telling this story in another interview that I recently done. That was my demo take from everything from the like a chord progression underneath, and the harmonies were both my demo take. And like the second part of the harmony, the lower part, like there's even a part where I just go slide, and I don't even actually play the note like with the lead harmony, with a lead line, the melody, I guess you would call it, kind of. Yeah. But I didn't care. Once I got it done, I was like, you know what? Because I was like, okay, guys, I was like, I got the intro, and then I was like, I got to replay it, and that went on for a month and a half while we were doing vocals. And then I was like, I'm not fucking replaying this shit. I don't give a fuck. It sounds good to me. I mean, like no, like I don't, and I do. There is something to be said for like okay, like, yeah. I mean, that's just what I wrote, and when I wrote it, like, and I recorded it as soon as I wrote it. And there's something to be said. You know, it's raw. It's in its like, you know, natural state almost. And you just say, oh, well, fuck it, man. Because eventually I was like I was like, nah, fuck this. This is good. This is fine. Even though, I mean, it's not perfect, but I don't really care. But anyway, you know, that was something I just did in a couple hours when I was at work, because my studio's, you know, it's next door. So I just went next door and did it.
When inspiration strikes, huh? So,
yeah, well, it's really like, it's like, man, fuck, we got to do this fucking record. We got to finish this damn thing at some point. And like, and I'm like, all right, I really should just do this. And I'd gotten this, this 75 Les Paul. I played on any of the solos, all the like shred and stuff. I have an Ibanez, but I'd gotten this 75 Les Paul, and I was like, I ended up doing all of the harmonies. I have a couple old Les Pauls. All the harmonies were done on my Les Pauls, but I'd recently gotten this black one. It was like, you know, March or something. I don't know what the fuck I got it, but this was like May when we started recording or something. Or no, would have been, no, we finished recording in May. Yeah, so I got it like, maybe I got it like January. Yeah, I just grabbed the black Les Paul and I wrote the first harmony part. And once I had the first part of the harmony written, I just grabbed my other Les Paul and I just played along with it until I got the other part. And, you know, in a couple hours, the intro was done.
Nice.
Yeah. So
it's good to have that close by when you hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that
yeah.
is it is a relief. Like that's as you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like we're never beholden to like any kind of time constraints or anything. Like you never, you know, we can just walk in and we can sleep there if we want. You know, we can spend the night and we can. I mean, we don't, but we could.
Wait, you never have, not ever, not once.
Pat, because he lives down at the beach, so he has slept. And Jimmy's spent the night there too because he lives in Philly. So if he's drinking or something, so and Pat, same thing. Like if he's drinking, you know, he can just go to sleep and then leave in the morning.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. That's good.
Oh, absolutely.
So is it?
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was gonna say, is it one of those things where sometimes, because even though you're not like beholden to a clock, do you find yourself ever like working on a balance? Like, okay, we don't have to necessarily get done by X, Y, or Z, but we also can't fuck around forever. So do you kind of ever put any unnecessary pressure on yourself, even though you don't have to. You don't have any outside pressure. But do you ever have anything in the back of your head goes, all right, we do need to do this at some point? Because I know that artists are their own, worst critics. So even with the intro that you did, you got to a part where you even just said it wasn't perfect, but it was raw. And you said, fuck it, I like it, it's good, so we're gonna cut it right here. So even though you don't have like anyone, obviously proverbially breathing down your neck, do you get to a point where it's like, all right, we can't work on this one part or this one line or this one lyric forever? So I mean, is it kind of like, all right, we have to kind of find some sort of internal balance for ourselves, or we will work on something forever because someone isn't barking in our ear?
Well, I'm usually the barking in the ear.
Okay. All right. Well,
to
asked and answered.
Myself,
okay.
And to myself. But we also work very efficiently. I mean, they have all been around me either in a band with me or not. And they know how I like to work, but they all like to work that way. So that's the way we don't waste time. We're not big time wasters. We try to have, like, we get together with intention. Like we're like, all right, we're here to work. Very, very infrequently will we have a rehearsal or a writing session for a record, let's say, that does not that does not give us something.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe not an entire song, but there's usually something of substance that comes out of any time that we are together.
And then obviously it must be nice to be able to have control over your own database of, riffs and chords and all that good stuff.
Yes, it's amazing. So, well, it's great because sometimes it has happened, not on this record, but it has happened where we've gone back because, we will record our entire rehearsal. And we can go back and listen because I used to have it in my house. Like we would rehearse there, and I would still mix at my house and stuff at my home studio. But before we had a studio, but we've gone back and listened and be like, oh shit, this riff was here, and then use something like that. Yeah. It didn't really happen this way because we were working even more efficient. We were working very efficiently when writing this. Yeah. It was very, very efficient, very efficient.
And the good thing is since you have that capability, you can always keep that acoustic thing that you wrote at the top of the list.
Of course, yeah, man, it's there somewhere. I mean, I forgot. I never actually tracked it. I was recording it on my phone, but I worked on that fucking thing for like a month. It's the ones, and it's so funny. But that as a producer and as a songwriter, you have to be able to do. I worked on that fucking thing for like a month. And it was a very short piece of music. It's like 1 minute and 10 seconds, maybe even less. And but the thing is, you can't get like emotionally attached to that shit. And it doesn't, even though that I've never worked on a single piece of music that long in writing any song, whether it's a pop song or metal, it doesn't make a difference. I knew that it wasn't right. So I said, fuck it. We're not. It's not going on the record because it doesn't belong. Yeah. So, maybe we'll use it down the road. Maybe we won't. But, you got to be able to do it, and you got to be able to do it to yourself. You got to say, nah, this is, like, I don't give a fuck how many hours I've put into this. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You got to be a self editor.
Now I need a High Reaper shirt with a say, have you seen this missing track?
That's it.
Put the file name on it.
Yeah. It's funny. I never named the song or anything. It was just an instrumental piece. I never named it or anything. I don't even know if I still have. It's so funny. All the work I put into it, I barely remember how to play it. I would have to watch the video to remember how to play it. I would only, and then I would remember. But I don't. If you were like, play it now, I'd be like, man, I don't really know how the song goes.
But that's better than having to like root through a stack of papers. Like, I wrote the damn note progression down here somewhere. Where the hell did it go? So I mean, that's
true.
That's definitely better than having shit doodled on like cocktail napkins and shit. Like
that's for certain.
Sounds kind of like Thomas Hake when they trying to tell him to keep playing Bleed on drums. He's like, dude, I can't do that shit anymore.
All right, so backtracking a little bit. I mean, I guess we should have kind of talked about this first, but tell us how tell us how the band came about. I mean, how did all you guys come together to form the band?
Okay, so originally, sorry, I had to stretch my legs up.
Oh no, you're fine.
My iPad. Let's see. Zach had played some. Pat played, and our original drummer Naps. We were all playing in a band, or had at some point. That was Andrew, our old guitar player's band. After a while, Zach wasn't playing, Pat wasn't playing anymore. It had just been a long time, and it was just over for me. And I was like, I didn't want to do it anymore. So after about 6 months of not doing that, I had the idea to make this band, but I wasn't really sure initially exactly what I wanted to do. But I thought I wanted Andrew to sing, and I was going to play guitar. And then he was like, "No, I don't want to sing." He's like, "I want to play guitar." And I was, because I thought, and I was like, and I was originally going to have Devil play drums, but I had been playing bass with Naps for so long. For the last like 7 years, 6 or 7, 5 years, 7, 6, I can't remember how, 5 years or something, let's say. And when Andrew decided to play guitar, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'll play bass, and we'll just have Naps in the band. I won't ask Devil, because I've been playing with Naps forever as a bass player. Now, Devil's a guy who I've known I've known him for 30 years, since he was 17. He just turned 48. So, so anyway, I'll get to that. But so Andrew was like, "Nah, get Zach to sing," because they were working together. I said, "Okay." So originally, and then we got Pat. Pat had moved to the beach at that time, but then he was like, "No, I'll come up. Let's jam." And then the band just got together like that. We thought we were gonna write a record and maybe play 5 or 6 gigs or something. Just it was nothing serious at all. So we did. We wrote the record, and once it got passed around and stuff, things just snowballed kind of rapidly. We had only played like six gigs. It was a year for I believe a year to the day of our first gig, that when we got signed. We signed a record deal a year after we had even played our first gig. And we had only played like 6 gigs in that year or something. It was nothing, because we weren't, we played in New York a couple of times, Philly a couple of times, and Delaware a couple of times, something like that. And then there we were. So that's how that happened.
That's wow.
Yes, it's crazy.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear that, Jason.
I just said that was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Believe me, it was wild for us. I mean, like, because we weren't doing this with the intention of doing anything like that, So, we were like, what the fuck is going on here? It was not, at the time, it wasn't even, I don't think it was what any of us were looking for. None of us really wanted to kind of put this kind of investment into something. But when it kind of takes a life of its own, and you're just like, okay, fuck it. We should just ride this, because, you don't get these opportunities frequently enough. So
it's one of those things where I say everything happens organically. Usually,
right? Yeah,
yeah. And then like literally, and then we did about 90 dates in Europe in like 18 months.
Nice.
It was just
Very
like
nice.
tour. And then we were doing stuff here, and then COVID, fucked everything up. But,
hit the brakes.
Right?
Hit the brakes.
Yeah, we had
everything.
two tours canceled during COVID.
Oh damn, man!
US and Europe.
I know a lot of. Everybody.
Yeah,
no one was unaffected by that, but to have 2 tours canceled, that sucks. So, that US tour that got canceled. How extensive was that one going to be?
That's a good question. I'd have to think, but it was definitely like 20 dates. I'm sure it was at
Okay.
least 20 dates.
Okay. So not
I
a
don't
short
think
run.
I don't think it was 30, but I think it was definitely at least 20. And it literally got canceled. Like I'm talking like 4 days before we were set to go out. Like it wasn't like it was like literally we were prepping. I think we might have been a week. No, a week or inside of a week from us leaving, it was canceled.
Also, it was just one of those things. This was like, let's wait as long as we can and see if it goes off. And
Well,
then
what was it? It was the beginning. It was kind of like the beginning of COVID, so no one knew what was going on. And then all of a sudden, fucking, it was like, hey, tour's getting canceled. We were like, what? So it was the very beginning. It was totally fucked up, man.
Yeah.
It was fucking fucked up.
So, I mean, any chance of, what are we looking at as far as touring moving forward? I mean, are you guys going to get a chance to come back out?
Yeah.
I know the release show is coming up. What, the 29th of November, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Europe probably first. So we're working on that now.
Okay.
So
you guys are going to get back out. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
it's just yes.
So
Nashville has plenty of places to play. Just like
Nashville absolutely
did
does.
play there before. I have no idea where, but we did play there.
Oh,
Nashville.
Nice.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you where that we did when we were on tour. Gosh, this was during COVID. So at the end of COVID, we were out on the tour. With Freedom Hawk and right? Yeah. And we did play Nashville, but okay. Anyway, sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Because the funny thing is even if by some chance you did remember the venue, the way things go around here, there's a better than average chance that the venue may not even be open anymore.
Well, that's true too.
I believe it.
Because Nashville is just, that place is exploding, and it seems like every time we go to a new venue, there's like two more that pop up. Which don't get me wrong, it's a good thing because it's just more places for people to play.
Oh, yeah, right on.
And we've talked about it with bands before. Nashville is not just country music anymore. So bands come down, they come to the Ryman, they go to they go to Bridgestone, obviously the hockey arena, Motley Crue and Def Leppard, they were at the football stadium. And then you have all of the bands, in between coming to the, Exit In and coming to the Basement East, anywhere from, 1 to 500 all the way up to 50, 60,000. So, there's venues for basically any band that wants to come through here, but that doesn't mean that when new venues are opening up, there aren't some that are getting, lost by the wayside, unfortunately too. So, yes, it's good that there are plenty of places for people to play. It's a good thing. I genuinely believe that. I was in the middle of thinking of a question when I was saying that, and I lost it.
I have one.
Okay, Jason, go ahead because it'll come back. It'll come back to me. But
when you were talking about making the new album, how long was it? You said you guys were trying to get it done. So how long was it from the start to the finish? How long did it take you guys?
Okay, so I got to think really quickly. It took us. We started in the very end of July. This is writing it. This isn't this is writing and recording. Okay. So we started the very end of July and it was done by, I want to say the very beginning of May.
Okay. So that's not bad. So May to now. So we're at the end of October. So, you got.
So it was like July, well, let's say just August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It's about 10 months.
Yeah, and then that's not too bad of
average, honestly.
Yeah, but that's still not too bad of a turnaround to get it written and then recorded and everything, and then put out at the beginning of October. So that's actually a pretty good turnaround.
Yeah,
Really is.
I want to say it could have been actually later April. So let's just say 9 months. Let's just say not. But yes, and our release date got moved up. So originally it was going to be in November,
Oh, okay. All
and
right.
then, well, I mean, not originally. Originally, I mean, he we thought it was going to be like May, our release date, but
Oh,
we was just taking forever, and then just when you're putting out a record, we turned. You want Okay, so on the label end, we want to receive the record as far in advance as possible.
sure.
We don't have very many delays with our pressing plant we use. Not we don't really have that, but um, we're on time. Our schedule's nice, but you still don't want ever you don't want to ever force a release or rush a release. So even if you think you're going to get the turnaround, let's say, I don't know, let's say 4 weeks from the pressing plant, you don't want to count on it for that, because there could be some unforeseen delay.
Absolutely.
So, and then we on the label side want to have, at least you want 3 month, pretty much 3 month lead up before the release date. Okay, to at least 8 week minimum, but 12 week, let's say 12
Sure.
week of promo.
Yeah.
But also, we need to have the record um, done before we even start that, so you can say, hey, you know, oh, hey, High Reaper's going to have a new record coming out. Want to get the premieres done. Want to get this, but just start the whole fucking bullshit. And then on the physical side, the distro side, you want to be able to have the physical copies at distro, ready for distro by the time the release is out. Which that's a logistical problem.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so so
Yeah.
the earlier you can get it from the pressing plant, the better chance you have of having it ready at distro. You don't ever want to rush. So anyway, we had initially when the record was actually done, it was going to be in November, a release date, and then when we turned it in a couple of weeks later, the boss at the label, he's like, I think I'm going to move the release date up. I said, yeah, sure, man, move it up whenever you want. Because November, it would have been, we don't typically release anything after November anyway, so it would have been one of the last releases of the year. Because Christmas time, once you get in the holidays, it's crap. So we might release some represses after like someone's repress between late November and February or something. But we typically don't release. We wait till after Christmas and New Year for the releases. We don't release much over the holidays.
So
Just
did
represses usually.
so did did that original release date, because you're talking about it was going to be in November? Is that why the
Release show?
release show is then? Because I
No,
mean,
man. I'll tell you what, the reason why the release shows when it is, because we couldn't get a fucking date at any venue that we wanted to play at.
oh, okay, all right,
And we just said, you know what, fuck it, who cares? Make it late. We'd rather play at a venue we want to play at than at some shack somewhere.
sure.
So who cares? Like, I don't care if the record comes out in October, or we'll put the fucking release show in November. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Again, one of those logistical,
Yeah,
issues you
just-
run into. Because I
yeah.
mean, it's not just, hey, we have an album come out. Let's celebrate it. Well, it's not that easy. So
Well, yeah, well, that was part of the problem, is that we, at the end, we just the record wasn't done yet. It's not done, and it's just, finalizing it. It's taken, so, by May it was finalized. We had an initial release date, then we got, so whatever, 2 weeks after we turned in the record, then we got the real release date. But we couldn't get anything in October by then. The shit books fast. So
yeah.
in May we couldn't get a venue in October, not a venue we wanted playing. We were working. I was ready to give up. I was going to be like, man, fuck it. I don't care. We're just not going to have a release show. Like, what are we going to do? It's just not going to happen. We'll have to make a release show after the new year, and that'll just be it because we can't get a fucking venue. But anyway, so it ended up working out for the end of November. So that's why we took it.
Well, that's good because you don't want to settle for something like that, especially for something that important, because
listen, I would rather not even play it than play it at a crappy venue,
right?
That we don't want to do, So
yeah,
but yeah, it ended up working out in the end, and it's good because we were all kind of burnt out after making the record, and now we're using rehearsal. To learn the songs again, because we haven't. Most of the record we haven't played live yet, so we're figuring out a way to kind of do the record front to back live. So that's what we'll do at the release show, and we'll do that front to back live, and then we will do a bunch of other songs, and then moving forward we'll probably rotate songs in and out, not do record front to back, and we'll figure out which ones work live, because you know how it goes. Like you write a record and you think, oh, this song's gonna fucking kill live, and you play it and you're so excited to play it, and then everyone stands there and looks at you like, this song's boring or something. Like, what? This is my favorite one. What?
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck. And I'm like, oh man, shit, is this real?
Yeah.
That's the way it happens. So you can think like, yeah, man, this one's gonna bang so hard live, and then the one that you'll think like, man, this song is kind of boring. I don't really like this song that much. And then everybody's like, yeah. Like, oh, fuck. Okay. Well, I guess we're playing that one, not the other one.
Yeah. I'm sure it's it's ironic that happens, but it's not ever having done it myself. Of course, I guess it's just kind of sometimes you never know until you actually do try. So
exactly.
Yeah. Now
I always figured it'd be my luck if I was in a band and wanted to release something. I'd pick a date. And I was like, all right, cool. It's coming out this day. And then I look at the list and it's got like Metallica, Megadeth.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like nobody's going to listen to my shit.
Yeah.
Now, since you're working for the label now, you talked about it, everything you just talked about as far as, the distribution and the pressing and all that stuff. I mean, it almost kind of sounds like you kind of have your hands in everything. At least you have some. At least you kind of
have the knowledge of how everything works.
Right. You at least have the insight. So I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, how much of the stuff is the label actually taking care of for you guys, even though you're working for the label and you're on the press team? I mean, if you're working on like the promo for the record, what else is the label handling for you guys that you're not doing?
The biggest thing is I mean, like I said, I work on the press team. So the biggest thing that labels, first of all, do is pressing and distribution. I mean, distro is fucking tough, man.
Right.
Like as an independent artist, it's really difficult for you to, especially if you're not well known, for you to press your own record and have it physically distributed. It's difficult. Okay. So the fact that you can get our label's records everywhere in any country you can think of, pretty much. Sorry about that. That is a huge deal. In addition, the press that you are able to get because you are on a label is better than if you're an unsigned band. And it's sad, but that is true. A lot of outlets that we deal with, even if they're slightly moving in the right direction, but they're an unknown band who has a Spotify and an Instagram account, and they hire a press agent, those people are less inclined to write about you.
Sure.
And that's just a sad truth. Now, if you somehow manage to become popular, independent of like a label, then they might, and you have 30,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and 50,000 followers on Instagram or something. Well, then a press outlet's probably probably will write about you, but it's still not a guarantee. And it's just the label, it legitimizes you, I guess you could say. So our label is our booking agent in Europe. Now, labels aren't necessarily booking agents, but you look, of course, if our label were not our booking agent in Europe, we look more attractive to a booker too, because we have, we have the backing of a real label with successful acts and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. Some kind of a portfolio that people can actually look to.
Yes. And there's the perception, oh, they're on the same label as this. Oh, this.
Sure.
And so there's some, even though that's not, there's nothing really substantive behind that. That's how people perceive it. Oh, they must be good because they're on the label with, whoever's on pentagrams on their label. Shit. Well, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. There's nothing really to that, but that's how people view it.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely nothing wrong with having something work in your favor psychologically.
Yes, of course.
Whether it's something tangible or not, whatever works is a positive. So, like you said, there's nothing substantial behind it, but there kind of is, in the back of people's minds, because, like you say, if you go to a website kind of like Encyclopedia Metallum, I mean, because you can search by band, by genre, by country, by label, it's a pretty comprehensive website. So, I mean, you can pretty much search however you want, and by label is one of them. So, that's kind of that's one of the things that, from time to time we do kind of look at when, we're working on stuff, whether it be like kind of like a theme of the week, or whether we're just kind of doing some research on an upcoming guest, because we do have some labels that we've not directly partnered with, but I mean, we've gotten in contact with a couple labels through other guests, and they'll send us stuff ahead of time. They'll send us some demos, they'll send us some press kits. And
actually, if you want, I will certainly just put your email in our press email, and so you guys,
absolutely.
So you guys get our stuff, so you get all
absolutely,
you'll get all the EPKs and all that shit in advance. So you just get everybody's shit in advance.
Yeah, that would be outstanding.
Just remind me, just send me the email, or is it just the email that you email me from?
Yeah.
I'll just tell my press boss on Monday. I'll just give it to her and be like, hey, add these guys. And then you get all that shit.
That would be awesome. We would greatly appreciate it.
We do run across a few times where, like, some of the press releases we get, those bands aren't on the list that we print out. So it has happened a couple of times. So
and that's
it is good to have that in our email and be like,
well, this way, because like I said, you'll be in our mailers, so you'll get every one of our records. Whether you like it or not, you just get them, and whether or not you have the time to listen to them or care to listen to them, you'll get there.
We take time to listen to them.
Then the ones that you want, you can contact our press agent or our press boss directly and say, hey, I want to interview High Reaper. You don't have to, because if maybe some band doesn't have their email up, or you have to contact her through Instagram.
Sure,
and they don't see a message request or whatever the fuck it is. This way it can all be done directly through our press press agent boss.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Because like Jason said, we've come across some acts that don't show up on like the website that we use for our weekly releases is pretty good. It's pretty comprehensive.
But stuff that doesn't show up there, right?
Sure. I mean, I don't think there's any one outlet that can keep up with everything. I mean, it's just,
especially now.
Right. So it's
something may have got pushed up and they didn't know too.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes.
So.
Yeah. So I mean, to be able to, now that we've you know, we've established ourselves a little bit. I mean, we still kind of consider ourselves like, you know, the little guy in the landscape, but we're doing the best we can with just the two of us. And, you know, now that we've established ourselves a little bit, you know, like I say, we do have some relationships with a couple of labels, and they send us stuff, and, you know, they follow us, we follow them. And, you know, so, I mean, so we're working kind of together with some of those. So yeah, I mean, if we could establish any sort of kind of back and forth with your guys' label, that would be outstanding.
There's no
It
problem.
would be so
Yeah, I mean,
cool.
I'll just put you. I just like I said on Monday. I mean, I'll just give her the email, and then you guys will be on the list. You just be on the mailer for everybody.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be.
And we got
I want
new.
to show this comment for you, Shane. One of our other friends from another band kind of mentioned something. I just kind of want to get your perspective too there. First off, well, Jason, thanks for listening to us, man.
What's going on, man? Good to see you.
What's up, Jason?
Yeah, there are so many aspects about labels and technology have changed. Having a larger digital footprint is a necessity in today's climate. Having a multifaceted team promoting and aiding and looking at fine details is extremely beneficial. It is still possible to do it independent, but the path can be a little more frustrating.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
they're kind of in the same boat. They're kind of in the same boat. They're independent, but you know, like I said, it's not out of the woods for them to say, "Hey, yeah, I'll sign with this label if everything's, you know, looks good."
Yeah,
that's what I said. Like a lot of bands kind of like like I have talked to bands that come across labels and didn't like the contract. They're just like, "Man, I wanted to sign, but I didn't really like the contract." So
of course. I mean, like it's, you know, even at like every well, yes, every label has their way of doing things, and you know, as an artist, you have to decide if you're faced with those kind of questions, whether what you're being asked to relinquish is worth it,
right?
To be on,
right, yeah.
You know, it's different for
all
kinds of things, or all kinds of labels. I mean, every deal is different, I guess.
And I just had a band like message me out of the blue and said, "Hey man, we got this contract. You mind taking a look, see what you think?" And I'm just like, I'm not no professional, but I'll look at it. Yes. I mean, I didn't like, for me, if it was my band, I would be like, I mean, it doesn't sound bad. I mean, yeah, you got to come up with a little money up front, but they're going to do all this work. Like the work that they were going to do was worth it to me to not have to do it. You know what I mean? If I'm going to give you $3,000 to do all this, then I don't have to do it. Shit, that frees my time up to do everything musically. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
To help get shows or something together. Or,
you know, yeah. Of course.
You know, now I can do 10 more shows because I have the time. Or
you know, like I said,
we all know that you guys make your money off merch. That's where you're going to make most.
Of course. I mean, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly. Make, you know, fucking, you know, t-shirts and records are gold on the road. You know, like, I mean, that's how you survive. You know, you can, you know, you couple good nights of selling merch and I mean, it is like a real, it's like it really saves you, you know?
Yeah.
It can really, really save you.
Because you could be like on the tail end of a tour going, damn, man, I don't know how we're going to get to this next town, man. We're kind of running like on teams, you know, and then like, you have a good, you know, a couple,
a good night
1,500 night, 2,000 night sale.
Yeah, you're like, oh, fuck, man, this is insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the higher powers keeping you guys going, man. It's just
yeah, man. Like I helped a band. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to. But when we were just in Portugal, friends of ours were also playing, and they had to play, and I was like, hey, I don't got anything to do. I was like, set up your merch, and I'll just run your merch, you know, while you guys are playing. Don't worry about it. It's like, okay. And, you know, that was their last stop on a tour. And I think I did almost 1,000, or maybe right around $1,000 in like 1 hour for them.
Wow.
Nice.
And he was like, holy fuck. He was like, thank you so much. Like, you know, because it was the last day of their tour. I don't even think they had their tour manager or anyone else with them anymore because it was their last show. So they had it would not have happened if I wasn't able to do that for them. And they were like, "Oh my God, thank you so much," because extra $1,000, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
$1,000 fucking, man.
We were talking about this with another band a while back. How they said that's how they sell, because of the guy that they have doing their merch is so approachable, you know. And they
Well, yes, I mean, like, I mean, I think that there's a couple things. Like, I'm of the belief that listen, Zach he was killing it selling merch in Portugal, and Pat does it most of the time, and because Zach will like go to cool down after he sings, like cool his voice down, you know, like warm it down kind of and stuff. But like, there is no better merch salesman than the singer. So that's who people look to and relate to, like, when they go to see the band, you know. And like even and I truly believe this, even like bands who are selling, like, who are at, like, you know, venues that they're playing 500,000 seat venues. I'll tell you what, if that was me, I'd be at the merch table every fucking night, because I assure you that if the band's milling around the merch table, your sales will be so much more. It's just, you know, there's no way, like at a band who's playing. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired, so if I'm stumbling through my
No,
words,
you're good,
I'm
man.
not
You're
used to
good. It's
being
fine.
up this late. So there's no way they would be doing like 20% more every night. There's just no. I mean, if that singer is out there, if they're doing a 500 seat venue, 1,000 seat venue, they're going to do 20% more merch with their singer there. It's a guarantee, because people want to and I agree with this, and I try to be as cool as possible with everybody. And if they want to talk to me, I'm going to talk to them. I'm not going to be like, you know, I talk to them. I mean, I think it's important to, and not just for sales. I just mean in general, as those people are there, they paid their fucking hard-earned money to see you,
Right.
and they paid their fucking hard-earned money to buy your merch. You better fucking not be a dick. You better just be like, hey man, yeah, like if somebody wants to talk to you and says, and they're a nerd like me, and they want to say, hey man, what's up with your guitar, this, that, what year is this and this, and start talking this dumb shit that I love talking about, I'm gonna fucking talk to them. Like, but I mean it. You know, you need to maintain perspective, us as musicians, because, you know, like, those people lining up to buy your merch and shit, I mean, they're keeping you going.
There was a band a while back that was talking about that too. So they don't even like doing VIPs. They said, because I think
I would never do a
I said, I think it's redundant.
ever.
He said, I'm already at the table.
Exactly. I would never do that. I mean, listen, man, like the guys who, like, you know, guys who are like, I mean, that are like in their 60s and stuff, and shit, and they're out there getting all the money they can. I mean, I appreciate that for them. And you know, this is hard business to try and make money in. But I mean, me personally, morally, I could never do it. I could never do it. I mean, I'm gonna shake your hand or sign your record no matter what. I mean, I would never charge you, you know, an extra $100 or $200 for this or that or whatever the fuck they do. And I do mean it sincerely. The people who do it, like, it's cool, man. It's fucking hard as hell to make money, to try and make money, and you know, touring. Touring is not, you know, it's not a vacation. People can have a kind of a flawed view and think, people who have not really toured, or, you know, like, when that it's like a vacation, or it's like, it's so cool, and it is fucking cool. But I mean, like, you know, you're moving every fucking day. You're in the fucking van for like fucking ever. It's not like, you know, it's not a sightseeing tour. It's fucking, it's a slog, you know. And but like, I think that, you know, for me personally, if I were in a position where I could charge for VIP, I just could never do it morally. I could never. It's just not the way I am.
You said, you know, I have like a refound like respect for you guys now too. After Martin Montnick couldn't accept, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's been on the show before too. He just posted a video. It's been a few weeks ago where they just did their recent tour, and he was like saying, "This is the day in the life of a musician on tour." and he was like getting up at like 8, 9 o'clock, checking, getting off the bus, going into the hotel, and he said this is crazy because you think we're crazy, but we rent the hotel to go in and practice. That's what he's like. We don't practice on the bus. Yeah. He's like, so I go in a hotel, I start getting, I take a shower and all that stuff, get ready for the show, and then I'll do some exercise. I mean, he was just going through step by step what he does every day, and it's just like, you're doing that repetitively, and there's no break. There's only like a break or two in between, so you really don't get to see anything. Like if you're, say you're in Nashville and you got another show in like St. Louis the next night, well, you got to drive. I mean, you don't have time to see the sights. I mean, so.
And in Europe, I'm our driver. In Europe, I'm our driver. I mean, in the States, me and Devil and Pat, all three of us will drive. But in Europe, I do all the driving. Like, I mean, I'm not complaining or anything. I like driving, so I don't care. But but like we get to the venue. I'm kind of like our tour manager too. Like I get to the venue. We talk to the promoter. We talk to the sound guy. All the shit. It's just always, and we have our own little tour bus here, but in Europe we're just in a van. I mean we don't sleep in the van. Here we sleep in our tour bus, but it's like it's not, it's a tough way. It's a tough way to make a living, even if you're making good money. But it's not glamorous. Yeah. I would say that. You smell like shit. You fucking, you're fucking dirty. You're just like miserable. Like, and you do all this to play for 45 minutes, and then you fucking drink some or not, and then go sleep somewhere foreign, and you wake up and you have a coffee, and then. You hopefully, if you're lucky, you take a fucking shit or something in a regular toilet somewhere, like, and then, if you're extra lucky, you get a shower, and then you just go do it again.
Yeah,
so it's fucking gross, man.
Yeah, I do like the fact that, and Jason brought this up a little bit because it's funny that he did, because I was going to do the same thing talking about our buddy Martin. I actually saw him post a picture of himself, and it was an on and off day. He said this is what we do, because they're back over in Europe right now. But it was a picture of him. He was at a laundromat. He said so what do you think heavy metal bands do on their day off? Of course, I'm sure every band does it, but what do you think heavy metal bands do on their day off? Wash their clothes, of course. So he took a picture of himself with his fucking laundry going on, and then I saw a picture from Testament. They were because they're going around right now with Creator and Possessed, and it was a picture of Chuck, and I want to say it was it may have been Tom, but anyway, they have you could tell they were on one of their gear, one of the trailers for their gear, and they were just taking turns on an exercise bike, just trying to get some damn,
no doubt,
just trying to get a little bit of cardio in. So I mean, it does give you an appreciation. The social media, whether you love it or you hate it, whether you think it's a necessary evil or whatever, but it's cool as a fan to be able to see some of that shit. It's like, it isn't all, hey, we're up on stage and we're playing, and it does give you an appreciation. Look, these guys, they're just people too. I mean, like you say, sleeping in tough places, eating garbage food because you just got to go, mm-hmm. And all this other stuff. So, I mean, it does give you an appreciation when you can get that perspective.
I think that's another reason, like, I'm glad we started doing this podcast, is because we talk to bands like you guys and, people that are still, making their way up to try to make
mm-hmm.
at least live and doing what they're doing. But I think it's, doing this has given a lot of fans perspective of how much these bands go through.
How much work it actually is.
And I think a lot of people lose track too, that doing this, I hope they do think about this when we're doing these things. It's like, hey, Metallica made that. These bands did the same shit before they were where they're at. So it's kind of like they didn't just like come out of San Francisco and went on tour. You know what I mean? It was like,
exactly.
Yeah.
They played in a fucking skating rink with Rat, for God's sake.
Right.
I love Rat, by the way.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. What do you think about, since you brought that up, have you heard the new track? What do you think about that?
What, Rat?
Yeah.
I didn't know they had a new track. No.
So it was a unreleased track that was supposed to go onto Out of the Cellar in '84, and like
sick.
they
Okay.
released the anniversary, so they put the track on the re-edition that they did.
How is it cool?
It's actually pretty good, man. It was like it's called "Reach for the Sky." You have to check it out. It's,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love Warren DeMartini. I love him.
I was surprised when that track came. I was like, God damn! It's like
I
took you
know,
long enough. Jesus Christ!
The first thing I said was like, that didn't make the album. Like what? You know,
well, again, it's one of those things that Shane was talking about. It's like they probably were like, well, this song's okay, but let's put these other ones on there.
Well,
and then all this time later, you hear it and you're like, why didn't this song take the place of X, Y, or Z? And it's just one of those things.
You know, you just don't fucking know. That's the thing. Like,
well, I mean, they could have had a contract with a label too, and the label said, well, you know, we just want 10 songs. We don't
I'm saying you choose the wrong one. You know, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, then they just, you say, fuck, man, this is good. In the end, there's a million stories of bands arguing with their A&R guys about, we want to put this song out as a single. Oh no, we don't want it. And then, the label wants to put this song out, and they say no, it's wrong. And then they put out, they relent and they say, okay, you can put out your single, the one that you wanted, and then it is a success. I mean, Berry Gordy, he didn't want to put out when Marvin Gaye did Mercy Mercy Me. Berry Gordy was like, nobody wants to hear this fucking shit. He's like, nobody wants to hear anybody singing about fucking the environment and all this fucking shit. And of course, he was wrong. I mean, this song was fucking huge smash. I mean,
it was.
It happens, But and so the thing is, you just never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, like you think, even like you just, it's really impossible to predict who is going to like what, and like even like working for a label, like you think like, oh yeah, well, this record's good, people will like it, and then nobody buys it, and then a record that you think, well, this record's okay, like there's something there, and then everyone goes crazy for it, and you think, well, what the fuck is going on here, man? Like. And records that like that you think are like surefire, like, okay, there's no way this is not going to be huge. It just kind of, it's impossible to predict how people will perceive something. If there were a formula, every record would be a hit, because
of course
they would make every record a hit because they could do it. But it's just not the way it works, and it's ultimately there's just no way to know. And even when you're in the process of making it, or if you are choosing after it's made and you're choosing which songs go on the record, inevitably at some point you'll make a mistake, and there'll be a song that wasn't included that ultimately, however many years later, when it gets released, like on a repress or this or whatever, everybody's, fuck, man, this song's fucking amazing, and like, it didn't make the fucking record. Like, how's that happen? It's crazy.
Well, I mean, that being said, I mean, was there a track 9 or track 10?
No, just that acoustic track.
Okay.
When we had 8 songs, I mean, because like, when I say we work efficiently, also we toss out, like, I am a lunatic hardcore self-editor. So when we write,
right away, huh?
We could be, well, I mean, we could even be, we did have, okay, that's not true. We did have another song that we never finished because I just didn't think, it just wasn't working.
Okay.
We had it, but then in the end, we just said, this isn't good enough. But like, we toss out a million riffs along the way, but it's rapid fire. It's like, we'll start playing, we'll jam on something. This sounds pretty good. And then it's like, nah, you know what? 10 minutes later, it goes in the trash bin. Just say nope.
Well, when
let's keep going.
Yeah, when and if you're not feeling it, I guess you can just be like, on to the next one. So
I've never been too much on. I like to write enough. Like I've never been much of like, oh, let's write 15 songs and choose 10. Nah, I just we just try and write 8 good ones or whatever. Like there's no point. We wanted a 35-minute record. We got a 35-minute record. That's what we were writing.
Yeah, you did.
And that's what we were writing. Like, so it wasn't like, and we like having 4 songs per side. So we got 4 songs. We got to, and the last song of the record is the last song that we wrote, and Pat had that intro, and he had that intro probably almost since the beginning of the writing process. And I kept saying to him, like, he would play it at rehearsal, and I was like, "We're going to get to that one. We're going to get to that one. Don't worry." It's just that it kind of took a while for he and I just to kind of like get into the mode of like, all right, we're going to finally tackle this one, because we knew that there was going to be work involved, and it wasn't going to be super fast. And he had also written the outro, not the outro with the harmony guitar, but where it's like a riff. The riff is like ding 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 ding. He had that, and I was like, wow, that's great. And that had come later, like months later. He started playing. It was like do 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 do. I was like, oh man, that's real sick. So when we went to put the song together, we were like, all right, let's do this, and but it was always our intention to do that song, like, and once we had that, I knew it was the last one on the record, and we knew it because we had already had 7 songs, and we were like, oh, this is gonna be the last one, and we didn't care about it being long. And then on top of that, I was like, all right, I'm going to write an outro that mirrors Pat's intro of this song, so there was a lot of shit that went into it. That's really why we delayed it till the very end, but it ended up being fine because it worked as the last song, so it was kind of it was good.
Yeah, I think one of the things I said in the review that I thought was very interesting was you guys kind of faded into the first track and then faded out at the last.
Okay, that was Zach's idea. So Zach wanted that to be intentional. He's like write an outro on the last song too, because I want to be able to fade out the last song. And if you had the record on repeat, then you're going to fade right back into the first song. And
that's actually pretty awesome.
That is a good way.
100% Zach.
That's a good way to do it.
That's like one of the first things I noticed when I was listening to it. I was like, well, I mean, not the first thing, because I listened to it a few times because like I said, I do a kind of a fan based, listen in the beginning, and then I try to like pick out things that I hear after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things I'm like, wow, didn't they just fade in?
Yeah,
in the beginning. So I had to. So I'm on Spotify, and I had it repeating anyway. So that's what it did. It went out and then went right back in, and I thought, wow, that's kind of pretty awesome.
I like a good use of fades, because I mean it's not something that's like done a whole lot anymore. It's kind of like it's kind of old school, and I like it. A good fade lead and then like a fade out. It's kind of like a classic to me that doesn't get used enough anymore.
Yeah,
I like it.
In the end, I was very happy. I was very happy. I thought his idea of it was good, and we implemented it in a way that was cool. It worked.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about the album real quick since we're talking about it. I'm gonna share this screen here. So
okay.
Who did the artwork for you guys?
A guy named Luca Solomacello. He's a guy from Milan, Italy. He also he's done all of our record covers. So the first record cover, it was a collage of photos that our friend Drew had taken. Zach had made the collage, but Luca, he put it together. And then for the repress, we used a photo or a picture that he had done. And then for the second record, he did that cover also. For our EP, he did that cover, and then for this, he's done all of our covers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He's great.
It's very, very dark and ominous. It's awesome.
Yeah, he does some really, really, really great stuff. He's a great guy, really super guy.
I know we talk about a lot of the a lot of metal albums are kind of dark and ominous. You can't really get a lot of out of them, but this one's kind of got a little more color to it, I think, with the yellows and stuff in it, and I kind of like that too. It's because it's a little bit more of I guess it kind of pulls out because I mean it's black over in the corner and then it pulls it all out.
Well, you have the light and dark contrast with the orange and black, and it's got a great balance to it.
Yeah,
it really does. Because then you have you have the monoliths there in the back, and then you have this big ass. You have the Reaper riding that big ass snake. It's awesome.
Yeah, we went through a few versions of the color palette, and ended on this one.
I also like the fact that the positioning of his scythe there is actually in the fire in the yellow.
Right.
So it's kind of cool that it's actually visible in the picture too. So.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, you could have dropped it down lower and you wouldn't have been able to see it in that
yes. That was also intentional. That was another thing that was going through the revisions when we were going through revisions was making that more visible.
That's attention to detail that I can appreciate.
Exactly.
I love that shit because it's not just like put a Reaper on a snake and we'll just go with it. I mean, you actually, the positioning, the orientation. Because I mean, hell, you could have had the snake facing the other way.
Yeah,
I mean, you could have had the Reaper down here. You could have had him over here. I mean, you could have not on the snake. So I mean, it's all there's like purpose behind it, and I like and I like that because it's something that you do have to make conscious decisions on, and it's not just throw a picture out there and we'll just slap it on the album. And I like the fact that you have to it's a composition that takes thought, time, and effort. I like that.
Well, to me it looks more simplistic and it's not it's not gaudy, I guess, because like a lot of these album covers you'll have like a castle and it's a soldiers walking up to the castle, then a dragon's flying, and like it's just like so much stuff that like, okay, I can't keep up what's going on here. So
yeah, I agree.
But
it's almost better to be kind of subtle and then more into the detail like he's talking about. So I think that's just me.
Well, what I like about this one in particular is kind of a paradox because the complexity is in its simplicity, if that makes any sense at all. So that's what I like about it. Because I mean, it doesn't have a shit ton of elements to it, but
enough to make.
Yeah,
but
it's got, so there's
you can't get lost. You can't get lost in the
Absolutely.
Compositionally, when you try to include too many elements, it actually lessens the impact of those elements. Because there's too many. It's spread out over too many things.
Yeah,
might be like. Somebody be like, "Did you see that skull on the third step?" I said, "Well, I don't know." There's like 200 steps on the castle, dude. Like,
right? Yeah, it's like that's just where that guy died. He just died there. All right, let me ask you this: since you do have an actual Reaper on the snake, now you don't have Reaper spelled the traditional way. I mean, what's the story? Just for some differentiation?
No, it's because again, like I said, we didn't really start. This wasn't like started as like some serious band. Like this has got to be this. A friend of mine, he wanted the vanity tag that says Reaper, okay, in Delaware, and when he went to get it, it was taken.
Okay.
So he got it with 2 E's.
Okay.
So I thought it was funny, and when we were like making the band name, I just thought it was funny, and I thought he would think it was funny. So I was like, let's just spell it Matt's way because I like the way it looked on his license plate. I liked it. So I was like, let's just do that just to be ridiculous. Like there's no real intention behind it other than humor from like personal satisfaction kind of humor.
Hey, that's all the reasoning you need, man. You don't need anything.
I was actually expecting a tattoo story or something.
No, yeah.
You don't need that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be, an earth-shattering revelation of oh my God, let's spell it with 2 E's. I mean, it's just,
Guy come in and said he wanted High Reaper and no regrets on his chest.
Yeah, no regrets. That's exactly.
Yep. Oh God. Yeah. All right. Now I wanted to ask you this. Now this is completely tongue in cheek. Now you guys have had 3 albums. you had High Reaper, Higher Reaper. Was there any talk at all about calling this one Highest Reaper?
There was none.
Okay, like I said, that was totally tongue in cheek.
No, we're moving away from that.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it was. I do like that the first two are called that.
Yeah.
But no, this wasn't. We were not considering calling it that.
Okay. All right. I figured as much, but now in between the second and third album, you guys right now you guys did have a split with a split release.
Yeah.
With
Hippie Death Cult.
Yeah, the Hippie Coalition. Now how exactly did that come about?
Oh, it was just because we had a European tour coming up, and our boss was like, "Hey, listen, do an EP or do a live album because we want you to go back over, for 30 more dates, but we got to have something." So I said, "Okay." So we started writing an EP. So we wrote like, I don't know, 5 songs or something, and then tour got canceled. COVID happened. The EP got canceled, and at the time he had an idea. He's like, "I want to do split EPs instead. Let's just do some split EPs." He's like, "So just give us 3 songs for EP, and we'll put you with these guys." And I said, "Okay." That's all. That's how it happened.
Okay.
And I think we did. That was like volume 5, and I think I want to say we did 6 or 7 of those splits for the label did. I think we may have gone to volume 7 or something. I'm not sure. We definitely did volume 6. It was actually called volume 666, but
Sure.
But I can't remember if we did a 7th or not.
Okay,
that was it.
Okay, so then where are those other splits? Because I mean, the only one that's listed at least on this outlet is
volume 1. No. I mean, the label we did they were called Doom Sessions. So volume 1 was like Conan. It was like Conan and Dead Smoke maybe.
Okay, so it wasn't multiple volumes for your band. It was multiple volumes
for the label.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
So we just put bands who were on the label together and then did splits for them.
Okay. Well, then if you did 5 songs for the EP, where are the other 2 songs that didn't make it onto the split?
We released one as just as a digital single.
Oh, okay.
And then the other one we did not release, but we used one of the riffs from it on the new record.
Okay. Cannibalized.
Yeah, but I like it better as that anyway.
Okay.
So
cool.
was that digital release you referring to? Was that Cold World? Or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That was an extra one. So since we hadn't released anything, we're like, let's just release that. So while we were doing while we were getting ready to write the record, we said, let's release a song because we just had it laying. Pardon me. We just had it laying around, so it was just sitting sitting on my computer. So we just said, fuck it, let's just put that out there.
Nice.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So I know you're kind of getting tired over there, so we'll kind of wrap up.
I apologize for
no. It's totally fine, man. It's totally fine. I do the same thing about halfway through the show when we start at 10. So don't feel bad. I gotta mute the mic so I'm not yawning into it and everything else. So I do the same thing. Don't feel
I get
bad.
up at like 5:30. So
yeah, me too.
So we had a European band that agreed to come. Actually, it was Barrel, wasn't it? They came in at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, because I told them, I said, hey, we do our shows 10 p.m. on Friday, but you're over there. We'll be glad to accommodate,
Yeah, we
He's
usually
like, no, we'll just do it. And I'm like, they come over there like big old things like coffee and stuff at 5 in the morning. It's like
I considered making a pot of coffee to make it through this, but I didn't because I was afraid I wouldn't sleep afterwards.
Well, that's true too. Yeah. So
right.
But so you've been in several bands, I'm sure, over your time. But so is there any kind of stories from not High Reaper? It doesn't have to be High Reaper, but if it is High Reaper, that's great too. Just any stories that kind of stuck out with you from shows, like anything crazy happened? mishaps or anything like that. So.
Well, this is not that crazy, but it was just very funny, I thought. And
That works too.
I used to play. One of my friends, he has a band called Toilet Boys. They're like a punk rock kind of like band from New York, but they were like
That
kind
tracks.
of they were pretty popular. They were on like a Roadrunner and like
Okay.
they toured Europe with the Chili Peppers and stuff like that.
Nice.
So in 2010, so sometimes I would play with them. So in 2010, we played this festival in Spain. It's like kind of a big festival. Kiss was playing, the Hives were playing, Bob Dylan was playing. I can't remember who else, but that's big enough, right? So in our backstage area, so the backstage where the dressing rooms were, it was kind of small, and there was a like a place where everyone would eat, and we ate with the Hives. Okay, I mean, do you guys know who they are? You guys?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know. Okay. I could.
Yeah.
So when they came out to eat, they were all wearing the same outfits. Okay, like all dressed the same,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, this is wild. These guys are dressed up to eat. All right. Like, no, it wasn't a big deal. I found it humorous. I thought it was funny. And, all matching outfits. So this was, and then we played right before them. And then I think we played right before them. Right after, I got to think for 1 second. We played right after Bob Dylan. Maybe we played a couple bands before. Maybe Chris Isaak played before them. We played, I think it went Bob Dylan, then us, then Chris Isaak. But anyway, when they came out to play their set, so we ate with them. When they came out to play their set, they were in matching outfits again, but they were different matching outfits. So they had a costume change.
Nice.
For wardrobe change, I should say, for eating.
That was their dinner wear, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like totally like they were totally dressed up. Like, I mean, it was like, like the clothes I would never wear. I mean, and they were like, like wearing them just for dinner. And I was like I thought they were stage clothes, but they weren't. They were just dinner clothes that they had on for, the 30 minutes they ate dinner.
It'd be funny as shit if they all ate the same thing too.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to what they were eating, but it was humorous that they came out in other outfits just to play in.
That actually is pretty funny.
Yeah, there was another band that I remember doing, Bowling for Soup, I think it was, that used to do that too. Used to come out and perform in the same like suits.
It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's totally insane.
And this was like they did that.
I love that.
They were
funny.
They were at one of the Warped tours I went to, and they came out, and I was like, dude, how are they doing that shit in July in Tennessee, man? That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Hot as shit, man.
Oh yeah. Good lord. Yeah, that'd be rough.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's no. I wouldn't do that. Screw all that shit. No, I get hot enough in like shorts and a t-shirt. I wouldn't want to put on a full suit to come out and
I'm
perform.
with you.
No way in hell.
Me neither. No.
Hell no.
So you guys have hard copies available for the new album Renewed by Death?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are they available on the website?
Well, right now we released
shows.
Yeah, they're going to be at shows. You can get you can get the record from our label.
Okay.
But we had 100. We had 30 that we had 100 ultra limited splatter edition vinyl that we released, only 30 on Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
They sold out right away, and then so we've reserved 70 of those have for shows as ultra limited for shows. So we'll have that. We will have that at our release show.
I love the
Nice.
splatter albums.
Yeah, it always looks good. I like every splatter vinyl. It doesn't like matter who the band is or like what the color palette. I love the way that looks. So it's a cool choice.
Yeah. So we get we had that was not available on our label. That was one that he gave us. We got the ultra. We got 100 like separate just for Bandcamp from the label for us, which was really nice of him to do.
That is cool.
And then the label themselves, they offer 2 other colored versions. One a solid color, and then one this like really cool effect. I don't even know. It's called side A, side B, but I don't know. You just have to see what it looks like. I don't know how to fucking explain it, but it looks fucking cool. It's like 3 or 4 color all mixed together.
Yeah, I was going through your guys' social media earlier, and there was I can't remember what page it was. You may know it, but there was a guy who was like, this evening's like what he was listening to this evening, and he had the album up on his shelf. So because he had the cover, obviously had the cover setting up on his turntable, and then he actually had the actual record itself, and it looked kind of like a orangish, pinkish kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that guy had that version. Like I said, I can't remember what page it was, but
that's one. Yeah, that's one you can get from the label. That's
okay.
The splatter was the Bandcamp only.
Okay.
Which will have it shows, but yeah.
Okay.
That version's cooler. I actually like that version better than the splatter, but the splatter's more exclusive.
Right.
Are there also like CDs or anything?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. We haven't put any of that stuff up on our Bandcamp right now. We'll but you can get them from the label. But we have CDs after our probably after the release show. Then we'll put everything. We'll restock Bandcamp with shirts, with the CDs, with put our other releases up there and all that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a hard copy guy, so I like having. I mean, even though like my new car, I don't play them, I still.
It's for the collection, man. It's for
the older car in my stereo system at home, I guess. But,
right.
Because I actually still have the old school. It's not a Pioneer, but I think it's like a Sony or something. And it's like almost like a record cabinet,
You got the rack, yeah.
I got the record. I got the 6-disc changer in it, and I got
sick.
the double cassettes and all that stuff. So I can pretty much listen to whatever I want to.
It's nice to have that.
It is
nice to have that option.
I actually see something on. I don't remember what it was now, but I remember reading something because I was putting all the stuff for the news ticker at the bottom today, and I remember coming through a story that said somebody was releasing something on VHS. I'm like, who the hell has a?
Oh my god!
No,
I'm like, why
again?
Yeah.
No, fuck, God, no.
I was like, I said we can revert back to some things, but let's not go.
Yeah, not that. That gives me anxiety just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, that's almost going back a little too far.
Yeah,
VHS.
That's too much for me.
What's next? 8 tracks or something?
Jesus.
No.
Get your good number 2 pencil out to wind the ribbon back up when it comes out.
Cassettes, yeah. Well, I got some cassettes that I bought. Actually, Exodus had some numbered cassettes at the show that I bought.
Oh, yeah. Sick.
Because they were numbered, I said, "Well, I'm gonna buy it. I'm probably never going to play it."
Well, sure. That's one of those. Yeah, that's one of those things you hold on to. Yeah.
But I had the CD. I had the CD anyway. So
yeah.
I listen to the CD and keep that in my.
Yeah. That's sick though. They're sick.
Yeah, the persona non grata, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. I don't remember what number it was. It just said some number of 500, and I'm like, oh. Cool.
Doesn't matter. You got one of the 500.
You got one of the 500. That's right.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, just like with those limited things he's talking about, if you got that splatter, I mean, that's something they're probably not going to do again. So
right.
No, we definitely won't do it again. It really is limited.
Yeah.
We only sold 30 on Bandcamp, and the rest will go at shows, and that's it. But there really were only 100 total.
Yeah, and I guarantee you guys will sell all 70 of those. I would bet money on that shit.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how fast the 30 sold. But I didn't want to. We decided on 30 because we just didn't want to release too many on Bandcamp because we wanted to be able to offer them to people at shows, and there was only 100 of them total. So we just figured that sounded pretty good, just 30, and and then the rest at shows.
Yeah.
If we wound up doing another like 20 date run or something,
exactly.
Fast,
yeah, if you do that, hell, you do that many dates, those 70 won't last halfway. They won't last halfway. Yeah, not even.
Then you take a picture of the last one and start sending pictures of it. Hey, you got a picture of $3. You get this picture of the album.
That's a good idea.
Splatter and all,
Yeah.
Or just put it on T-shirts. They do. I wish I had one or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, there you go. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. A band
That's
camp,
good.
a good band camp idea. I like that.
Yeah, Bandcamp Friday,
I'm over
Splatter T-shirt.
I'm over here.
Uh-huh.
I'm over here marketing shit. So
Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-mm.
but Shane, man, appreciate you. And like, you want to tell everybody kind of where to find anything High Reaper?
Yeah, right now, I mean, please, if you want to purchase our record or CD or anything, right now, our Bandcamp is not stocked, but it will be stocked by December. We're just going to wait until till after the release show. But so in the meantime, you can get all our releases at heavypsychsounds.com. And if you're in the States, which I assume everyone here is, on our label's website, if you look at the bar across the top, you can see USA Store, and you can go right there. Just
nice.
and click onto the USA web shop of it. So, and then you can just shop there, so you don't have to pay crazy shipping from EU.
Yeah, from Italy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right on.
Again. Shane, man, appreciate it again.
Yeah. Hey, I want to say, well, first I want to say thanks, but very much. But also want to remind you, please, not over the weekend, but please Monday, send me a follow-up email in case I forget, just to remind me, so I make sure that I put you guys on the mailing list.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, what I'll do is like I have to edit these for Spotify because I don't do live Spotify. So once I edit it for Spotify, I'll send that link to you too, and then I'll remind you.
Okay, yeah, then that'll be good. And then that way from here on out, you'll just be, like I said, you'll be on the list. So you'll get a mail with every,
nice.
as soon as a record enters into the press cycle, you'll get it.
Nice.
Get the kit.
So it can be a bad thing sometimes with me because now I listen to stuff sometimes it's not out yet. I'm like, God, come on, let's go.
It is.
It's like so badass. I want it now.
It is a massive tease. My album review last week was actually from a band that we got from Scarlet Records like a couple months ago, and so I knew it was coming up, so I actually on purpose, because I wanted to check it out because I saw that it was on the upcoming list. So I didn't listen to it when we got it sent, but it put it on my radar for the release. So when the release came out, I listened to it and then I reviewed it. So it is kind of a tease to get that kind of stuff ahead of time. But I think it's cool as hell, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you getting us added.
My pleasure,
this, man.
And
it was our pleasure having you on, Shane. It really was.
Well, thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much. I apologize for getting a little tired at the end.
Oh, dude. Dude, I'm probably about 20 minutes away from nonstop yawning myself. Like I say, man, don't feel bad at all.
Okay. Right on. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Shane, man. You have a good night, man.
Yep. Nice talking to you guys.
Take care, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shane Trimble, bassist for High Reaper.
Actually, guitarist.
Well, yeah, guitarist. Yeah, you're right.
Jack of all trades, Shane Trimble. I mean, bass player, guitar player, press guy, tour manager, bus driver,
4-string plus,
mixer, master, recorder,
everything
High Reaper.
Yeah, he is. That guy is definitely everything High Reaper, and probably the band's tattoo artist. I mean, we didn't really get a chance to talk about.
Oh, we didn't.
We didn't get a chance to talk about the tattoos, but we'll talk about the tattoos when the next time we have them on, because I'd be willing to bet that, as always, I have a feeling that won't be the only time we talk to them. Because
these guys are. I mean, obviously, if you've seen their catalog, they stay pretty busy.
Yes, they do.
I would say, this is 24. I would say, 26. You're probably having.
I was gonna say the same thing. Probably mid to late 26. Well, if Shane has his way, it'll definitely be before November of 26.
We don't do nothing in November.
No, nothing after. Well, and the funny thing is, it was funny that he brought up the reasoning as to why, and the logic is totally sound. Because you got the holiday season, and then all of the publications start doing their end of the year shit, some too early, and we've talked about that before, but you don't want to get lost in the end of the year scramble on the media outlets. You don't want to get lost in the holiday shuffle. So all the logic behind that is totally sound. It makes all the sense in the world. But yeah, check out the new album, Renewed by Death, on Spotify, and check out the first two albums. Check out High Reaper, check out their self-titled debut, then the technically self-titled follow-up album, I guess.
Yeah.
It's High Reaper, then Higher Reaper. Then you got Renewed by Death that came out 3 weeks ago. But I mean, especially, if you're even half-ass a fan of like Black Sabbath and Crowbar, mid-tempo doom metal, I mean, that sound will be like right up your alley. Very, very solidly done album.
All right, let's get with our normal stuff here. Wanted to share this with you guys before we leave. This is the playlist for the new releases this week. Check that out. May be hearing a band from that list at some point in the future. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll have our album reviews from that list posted on our Facebook page. So
yep,
you're following us over there to catch that.
Yep, probably what we try to get the album review write-ups done, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday. I like to try to have mine done before I do the Metalhead
exactly.
for
sure.
I
usually try to have all of it done before then too for you.
So. Yeah, so we definitely try to have everything done midweek. So we won't have a theme of the week this week, obviously, because we're not on our original format. But last week's theme of the week is over 5 hours long. Our Order in Chaos playlist is 70 tracks long. It's like 5 hours and 10 minutes. So,
it says 4 hours and 1 minute.
Does it?
Yeah. Let's say 70 tracks.
Mine says 70 songs, about 5. Regardless, it doesn't really matter how long it is, I guess. But it's 70 songs.
Well, no, I was just saying, Spotify may be doing some stuff there. So.
Yeah, so I don't know, because at one point it was like 5 hours and 10 minutes.
And there's that link for that too as well. So I'll post that for a minute.
Yeah.
As you can see, scrolling down the bottom there, you can always catch out the radio station there at stream.trulyradio247.com/8008/stream.
That's right.
24/7.
Yep.
All of our playlists are usually downloaded and uploaded there. So.
Mm-hmm. And that 24/7, that is no joke. I mean, it's playing right now. I mean, it's been playing this whole time we've been on, we've been doing the interview. I mean,
unless they ain't paid the license.
Well, yeah. I mean, as far as we're concerned, it's going 24/7. Because I mean,
as far as I know, last I was on there, it was up. So.
Yeah. So I mean, unless barring something catastrophic happening, like if you've watched the show at all, I mean, you may have heard us mention the fact that the server farm that we were originally on caught fire, so we actually lost our database at one point. So we are still in the process of getting back up to the same amount of songs we were at when that fire happened. We're getting really close. We're getting there. Yeah. So, but but regardless, it's playing right now. If there's anything that you want us to add to it, if you think we don't have it on there, which I mean, it's a better than average possibility that we don't with all the music that comes out. If you have any requests that you want to send us, you can email us at metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com, or you can send us a message on any one of our social media platforms, on X, on Instagram, on Rumble, on Twitch, on TikTok, on our Facebook group, our Facebook page. I'm going to have to make a goddamn list, because I go through this list and I always think I miss one.
I'm gonna make a scroll for you there.
Yeah. I just need to just write them down. But I mean, in the upper right hand corner there, that's our thumbnail at all of our social media. So if you're looking for us, that's the thumbnail that you're looking for. So if you want to, YouTube, forgot about YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, real quick, want to say thank you once again to Eduardo for joining us in the chat. We appreciate you coming by, and also a thank you to our buddy Jason from Halo Scars. We will see you soon, my friend. So,
I think Dana and Victor both liked it on Facebook, so I don't know if they weren't in a chat, but I think they may have been listening. So,
yeah,
appreciate you guys. advice.
Oh yeah. Yep, they are always around, and we appreciate that. So,
all right. Well, that will do it for this week. So far, we will be back next week with our regularly scheduled programming, unless something.
Actually, speaking of Dana, Dana
that's
will
right.
Dana will actually be.
Sorry.
Yeah, Dana will actually be on the show with us next week, and he is going to have a surprise for us. We already know what the surprise is. He's told us, so we know what it is. But so our buddy Dana, he's going to be on the show, and he's going to have a surprise that he's bringing with him. So
I'm glad you remembered that, because I had forgotten. So.
Yeah. So now, so we may, or there's no telling how long that show will go. It will be at our regular time at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dana will be on the show, and he's bringing a surprise with him. So we'll see how that goes. So it'll be an interesting show to see how long it lasts. So we may have to have a little bit of content in the chamber just in case, but we'll see how it goes. But so looking forward to that. Right. So November 1st,
hopefully you will join us back next week.
That's right.
With special guest Dana and his special guest. So
that's right.
So Dana and friends. We'll see Dana.
Dana Horn and friends. Hell yeah. I like it.
All right. With that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Until then, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you.